Hey y'all, welcome. This is THN, the Healing Network. I'm your host, Chelsea T. I am a YouTubeholic, Alka YouTube. Whatever it is to mean to just obsessively, yeah. Enjoy life. The last few years have been rough.com, and thankfully, when I look back on it, I do have some answers onto why, and I want to share in hopes to find out if anyone else is dealing with this too. I think we are, and I just want to make a space for us. So I'm starting off this series sharing about how I was secretly sick. And I'm wondering, could you possibly be experiencing this too? Welcome back to the series. This is THN, the Healing Network, and I am your host, Chelsea T. Today's topic, we are going to dive into some messy, some triggering, some painful points. So please listen at your own risk, take at your own pace. This is the For You section series where we are talking about why personal development is so vital and how dangerous it is to continue into toxic ways, mindsets, and lifestyles that have no growth. There are so many instances in our lives as we transition. I think the most acceptable stages are when you are in your 20s. I'd like to first start this off with my beautiful disclaimer of all my unqualifications, all of my lack of official, I'm not a doctor, I have not gone to school for any of mental health, anything. My bachelor's degree is in construction management. I am a worker. I have a job, and I just wanted to share some experiences that I've been having to offer some relief. Why is growth and change so uncomfortable? Why is when we try to bring it to our friends or people who are close to us, our relationships, when we present what seems to be like good intentions, do we get met with resistance and conflict and anger, or sometimes being shunned? This series is going to talk about the difficult and messy emotions that come along with change and why it's still good to persevere and fight through to keep on making the change. We understand the importance and how vital it is to have growth in your life. It's nonstop. There's not an avenue that you can turn down where people are not talking about how to improve. And yet we are, I'm a minority, so the reality is that most of us are not rich and will not be rich. And rich just means you didn't have to worry about getting your bills paid and didn't have to worry about where the money was coming from every month. So when we think about being rich, what most of us are really asking is for stability, consistency, and something that we can depend on, rain or shine, up and down. It doesn't matter how difficult things get. We want to be able to rely on it. Now I know we can't have everything at 100%, but we are discovering, especially as we get, in our adult age, as we mature, that there are many, many ways to live a life of stability. And so as we start striving for better for ourselves and we are implementing new things, whether that's the simple six, which is sleep, exercise, eating right, um, two more other ones that I just can't think of off the top of my head. But there's simple things that you can do to just jumpstart your body and to keeping it in regulation and maintained. Regardless of the type of change you want to make, you have to be willing to make it whether you get support or not. And sometimes the change that we need to make in our lives are so dire that you need to make this leap, whether you have encouragement from the people who are closest from you. But I want to talk about why it's so painful, why we often get stuck and kind of hang around. We fight to bring, people along, even though we are seeing that they just don't want to change. They don't want whatever wave you're on to try to make improvement or to better yourself. They just don't see it as that. And the longer you stay to fight and convince and make a new way and work it out where they could be happy too in this strive for change that you're going for, you're driving yourself crazy. Get off that ride, get off that boat. I'm here to be another voice to say that their support does not and will not be the final factor to whether or not you can make this change. I want to break down why I continue to use the word of childhood trauma, why I continue to use the nervous system, why I continue to try to connect, relate, and see if there's anything that you can tap into when you think about yourself and your pain and where it could be correlated. What is it? What is your body trying to tell you? What is your body saying in order for you to get this improvement? Because whether you like it or not, your body speaks. When you are sleep deprived, say you have been, doing something and you have sacrificed, okay, I'll just take away 2 hours and I can get this done. For the first week, you probably won't feel it. And if you're young enough, for the first few weeks, you won't feel it. But at some point, your body is going to demand that you get some real rest. We look into personal development. The first place to start is, what are you projecting out? What is your energy? Are you known as the fun and bubbly one? Are you the eccentric? You always know how to have a good time. You always know how to make people feel comfortable. You are always knowing the right thing to say. Are you the friend who is the quiet, reserved? Everyone knows you are quick to hold your tongue or quick to just be seen, not heard. Are you the friend who is angry? You always have something to say. You never let anything slide. You always stand on business, as I encourage everyone to watch The Baddies. I am a graduate of the Bad Girls Club, and now we are watching the evolution of Miss Natalie Nunn, who is popping pussy by day and a baddie by night. So it is such a wildly evolution of what personal development can look like, what standards of living are. And so I bring up Baddies and Bad Girls Club because everyone is bashing that franchise. Everyone is bashing the franchise. They say it's a negative place of society, and I just don't have that perspective. I see someone like Natalie Nunn, who is proclaiming and continues to hold the title to not only be the CEO, but she holds this position that she is having this show where she parties and brings on girls to have them party with her, and they make money and go about their day. And the reason I support this show is because Bad Girls Club was, a mixed show. So it was not predominantly African Americans on there. And so I remember her as a cast member on those seasons, and she just always made herself a presence. Whether you liked her or not, that was not her goal. It was about her making a presence. And so if we look at this industry for, it's not about whether you like reality TV, it's about this is where we are now. And so to see her evolve from an original program, which was by Oxygen, and they had that long going series, into that dying down, and that was no longer a show, to her, I don't know if she acted or did any other appearances on TV. I believe she did maybe like Oh, there was Natalie Nunn, that girl from Bad Girls Club, to her developing a rebrand, a relaunch of this classic series and making it more predominantly African American and making it about money, making it about glam, making it about looks, making it about being the best body type, putting your best foot forward. I love, so I'm completely in support of the franchise. I mean, we can even get down to the next HBIC in charge. Is that what we would say? That would be Rolly. Rolly has had such a dynamic online, or I should say TV career. So she transitioned from the, you know, lower respected TV, which was like the Maury's, the Jerry Springer type of reality shows. And she transitioned to a baddie, which was okay. I no longer did those type of TV shows. She did some type of sex industry type of work where she got, her money online that way. But now she's in a space where she wants to take care of her body. We got to see her do that transition. She got her own show where she did the process of weight loss and having that surgery. And I am going to take a side note for that because I was going to skip past that, but I think that's what makes Rolly so dynamic, is because she was a heavier set woman, a bigger woman, struggled with weight for most of her TV career, and she still had a confidence that is expected when you don't love your body. And so for her to get candid about it, let us in about what was going on, how she developed into getting the way she is, and her being candid about loving herself on all of those aspects. I was so proud of her to see that she shared her weight loss surgery, and then, that the crew followed her about all the massages she had to get and the treatment after, and how she couldn't walk and how she had to, drive around. It's a lot of work that's involved into that type of surgery. The recovery is work as well. And then I loved how she, gave us all of that, and then she transitioned her new body, her new self into the baddies. And everything about her continues to evolve. I'm not even going to say she's changed. Clearly, she has, physically and mentally, as she is now, holding her own on her baddie season. Every season, I think she holds her own just by being herself and always bringing that aggression yet controlled. So we watch Rolly be the aggressor 24/7, and she has now come down to be the aggressor when she feels she needs to be. And we also get to see her be a nurturing person who checks in on the girls and makes conversation and content that way. So I think Rolly does a very good job, and I just commend her. She's probably one of my favorite baddies out of the network, just because of her dynamic transition. She's done so much. And so wrapping it up with the baddies, because I know a lot of you guys are like, I don't care. They are a menace to society. The reason why I love them is because they've literally taken a sector of the world, which, let's be real, that sector of the world experiences a lot of poverty, hardship. Violence is natural because that's just how they protect and stand for their territory. So to see them bring that aspect, which is hard to get into, a lot of people don't want to step into those type of environments. Everyone kind of casts those people off to the side. To see them make a space and say, hey, fighting is acceptable, but you're going to fight, but you're also going to show how you evolved from, your hardship. Now you're here in this big platform. You have an opportunity to show yourself beyond just fighting. And that is what I like. There has never been a stage where it's progressing into classiness. I mean, is it the best way to go? No, but neither was Jerry Springer and the Maury Show, but they had 50 freaking seasons, and so we're here now. So yeah, that's my opinion on the baddies. I completely support them in terms of watching and just drinking up all their content. Do I want to move like a baddie? Like, of course, that's not my environment. So I am not in spaces where I have to fight 24/7. But if that was me, I am glad they have a show that lets them know fighting cannot last for the rest of your life, and you are gonna have to find some way to make money, and it's better to do it if you're looking pretty. Simple, clean cut message. They're not telling you to save the world. They never started off pretending that they were going to do that. So that's why I support them. And I bring them up because they highlight a wonderful way to transition onto why I made this For You section. Regardless of what negativity you have experienced, because all of us have gotten into some situation where we're not proud of at some point in our lives. What are you doing? What have you done? And what are you continuing to do to make sure you don't get there again? To make sure you aren't repeating those patterns that kept you there. A lot of media, friendship groups, your job, these are areas that you often are not challenged, and you probably will not be challenged because they need things to stay the way they are. Your job is not wanting you to challenge them because they need the employee. They need you to work. Your friendship group may not be challenging you to lose weight if you're in a group full of women who struggle with weight, because they need you to be okay with going out and eating out every day because that's how you guys bond. If that is your situation, the first thing you have to know is that you should not be responsible to convince them to now join the journey. And that is where the confliction and the confusion comes from, because social media continues to support the narrative that once the group, joins together, we're all going to jump in line and everything's going to be sales, sweet, dandy, no problems. That's not the case, and it's not going to be. And unfortunately, it's not until you know, have some money to be able to invest into a group, a class, a profession, some type of certification, where they have a program that they teach you a new way, a new thought process, that you say, oh, shoot, like, this is not even my responsibility to try to make a change for them. I can only change self. And so For You is just going to highlight all of the touchy areas, give a little tough love. That, baby girl, if you have been talking about something for 3 months and you haven't done it, you are not addressing the real issue. If you are thinking about an idea for 3 weeks, there is something that is preventing you from making it an action. There's a habit that you need to address. You need to be honest with self, and you need to have tough conversations with, if there a behavior that I cannot continue. So many times we get up, we are motivated, you're ready to start the day, you have these goals and you're ready to attack them, and then you get on the phone with your go-to, and 30 minutes, an hour later of a conversation that had nothing to do with your goals, didn't touch your goals, didn't encourage you about what you're trying to do the slightest. Once you hang up that phone, you are not even thinking about it. You're probably thinking about other heavier things that came from the conversation. And now it's lunchtime. You haven't did half of the things. You haven't even looked at your list, and you're off for the day. These are the small things that, if you are not being conscious, if you're not being intentional about making sure you are moving in those checklists for yourself, not to accomplish a job or accomplish X, Y, and Z. It's for yourself, to take care of you, to make sure that you are balanced. Are you walking around with something that's so stressful that it's been on your mind for 2 months and it's still just as heavy and stressful as when you first found out about it? if that is an experience, it's time to be real with self, to say that you are not taking adequate time to check in with you. It honestly makes sense. Most of us are not prepped to be that consistent with making sure we are emotionally regulated. We are not hyperventilating. We aren't in the hypervigilant mindset. We aren't aware of these stages because it's just so normal to be in that one frantic state. The most powerful thing you can do is to admit whether this state is bothering you or not. Some of us have states, and we can classify that as you may be a workaholic, you may be an overachiever, you may be the one who is the fixer, the go-to. Everyone loves to come to you to solve the problems, and you take the task, no problem. Recognizing the most powerful thing is to recognize that holding that position is costing you. Even though you are feeling satisfied about helping and being that go-to and all the good stuff that comes with that position, there is a cost to you that in the midst of being so busy and taking care of all those other needs, you are slacking on your health. You're slacking on your water intake. You're slacking on how much sleep you're getting. You're slacking on taking care of that pain and that doctor appointment that you should have booked 2 months ago, but things got so out of hand and you jumped in and was willing to commit for 10 extra hours for that week and things get lost. And I'm telling you that because you are the go-to, because you are the go one, no one is coming and knocking at your door saying, hey girl, make sure you take care of this. That is the most dangerous position to be in. And I am another voice to say that you can definitely take time today to make that list, to check in with self, to say, oh my goodness, what do I need to make sure I'm taken care of? If we don't make these habits priorities for ourselves at some point, because we all know that most of us come from hardship, difficult backgrounds. So let's not spend so much time faulting about who didn't provide this and why it wasn't provided. We all day can be done on that. We are at the space where we know it's not been provided, we know it's been neglected, and we want to do something about it. And doing something about it means that if you get overwhelmed by writing down the 10 things that you need to start working on, focus on one of the 10. If you have 25 things on a list, you need to pick a few things that you know you can tackle and challenge. You could see it today for the week. You can see that I was able to tackle that goals 7 times and build that muscle up. And that muscle is self-care. Self-care, we all know, is beyond the spa treatments, get your nail, your hair done. And honestly, some of us are so deep in the survival, which is, I mean, life is just life and the pain is real. We don't see a new way. We don't see a solution to this ongoing issue. So, of course, you're not even thinking about your hair and your nails. You're thinking about what's the meal that you're going to have for today. How are you going to get this gas to last you from A to B? And you got to get out of that survivor mode. Stability. And so my content, I try to give range to what stability goals could be, what survival mode could actually look like, because there are stages of when you are out of a job and you don't have the savings and you can't get something quick and you can't turn to other people to ask for help. So that's a different survival mode than someone who is in survival mode while they're working a 60-hour job and raising 2 kids and paying all the bills and trying to take care of a sick parent and trying to be there for friends. They're both 2 scenarios that are in serious survivor modes, and it's understandable when you break down their lives. The common denominator, the common solution is that both of these instances, if the person decides to take a bit more autonomy, if a person decides to start finding a way to process this hardship, they can implement real life plans, real life actions that you're doing, the real words that you'll start saying. You'll see yourself build up over time to remove yourself from that situation. The most difficult, the challenging parts are the ones that we're already connected to. The challenging part becomes, well, what if I'm not doing this solo? What if I'm not doing this, in this single mother fashion, and, I have a partner, or I have this support system in place. I just need X, Y, and Z more. If you have a current system in place and you can still write down a list where you need X, Y, Z more, and you can't easily get that X, Y, and Z, it's time to look at why this existing circle is your circle. Why these needs that you say they are filling, you should relook at if they're really filling needs. These are the areas of maturity. These are the areas of mindsets that people speak about. You may find that you are in a relationship because you like to be the go-to. You like to teach. You like to be the one that they, find so helpful, and, you feel like you're guiding them. You may like that position, but if you are honest, that position is leaving you very empty on the other side. You may find, if you be real with self, that you also need advice, you also need guidance, you also need that same support system that you're giving, and you cannot receive it if you're also playing that one area 100% of the time. It's just not happening. Not possible. So I am excited as we dive into the Secretly Sick series, because the solution is to look at you. The solution is to sit with you, even if it's for 30 minutes today out of your day. You got to break that routine. You got to do something where you stop that ticking clock. Because the truth is, we are routine people. We are habitual people. We like that regulation, that routine, that, okay, I know I'm going to wake up at this time. I know I'm going to eat at this time. I know I'm going to get to my car at this time. There is something soothing and comfortable about routine. Your next power of choice is to make sure that the routine that you are in is beneficial. It's safe. Let's touch on what it means to get yourself out of something that does not feel safe. Safety is often so easy to lose, and it can be so sneaky when safety is lost, that once you realize that, oh my goodness, this is not safe, you will start fighting and squealing around trying to make it safe in ways that is unbeneficial. Okay, so now it's time to get a little personal. As I talk about self-improvement, self-journey, self-help, self-care, the hot topics where everyone's saying if you just do that, your life will improve. And doesn't it suck when you do some of it and nothing changes? If that is something in your life, if that is an experience you had, what you're really saying is you're not ready. You're not ready to face the realities of what change is. Because anyone who has done change before knows that change is uncomfortable, change is unpredictable, change is very unfamiliar. And if you are doing something where you may not have a guidance or a blueprint laid out, it is nerve-wracking and scary. But nevertheless, we push forward knowing all of those factors. If you find yourself not able to push forward, it is one of those factors that is keeping you. And addressing so say your factor may be, okay, I'm very fearful. the most powerful thing you can do is to admit, I am very fearful, but I know that there are things that I can learn to overcome that. The willingness to be able to overcome fear, the willingness to be able to address what may be scaring you, that is power right there. Maybe your hindrance is acceptance. Maybe you are struggling because you keep sharing your idea, you keep trying to connect with your close friend group or your partner or whoever it is that you are speaking with, and they just don't seem to have the response that of acceptance. Every time you approach it, they hit you back with resistance, and they highlight all the reasons why you shouldn't do something. And because they keep bringing it back, the response would be, geez, no one, supports me, and they don't like what I like, and I don't understand. And you may try to keep, you're retailoring and you're redesigning. Maybe they'll like it this way. Maybe they'll like it this way. Acceptance is hard. And maybe you have had an experience where you've never been accepted. The most challenging thing is to have the understanding that you can move forward without their acceptance. So that mental block where you feel like, well, I have to have them give me the okay in order to do it. So a big one that I want to talk about today is self-improvement in the daily habits section. 2025 is the year of our Lord, and I mean, now weed is legal. Weed is legal. The things that our parents got locked up for and sent away are no longer the struggles of today. And I just, it's incredible. It's a time to be alive, because who would have thought, who would have known? But now more than ever, people are in addiction at its height, whether it's drinking, whether it's weed, whether it's the opioid crisis. There was some type of substance we are using in order to pass the time by. And understanding that has become so normalized to pass time using these substances, we don't talk about how difficult it is for people to step away once they're ready, or how they aren't able to step away once they're ready, and all the problems that come along with that. So I am making content for self-improvement in this area specifically because it's so prevalent. It is so common. It is a cultural norm that we really need to talk about. There's such the swinging pendulum of either you do no drugs, nothing at all, or you do drugs and alcohol like it's eating for one of your meals. That's how normalized it is. So the middle ground is so open for that, and I want to encourage that you can definitely take that habit and redirect that habit. If you no longer want to continue on in that lifestyle, I am so proud of you for being bold and willing to admit that you want to do something different. It is certainly going to take plans, it's certainly going to take time, and don't be afraid at that time. Don't let that time discourage you, because the way I look at it, especially if you've had something ongoing, 5, 10 years, 20 years, it's better to work at something for a year, 3 years, and finally get a breakthrough versus not working at it at all and just keeping on with the habit until a major life event happens. And that's where you get the, sudden hospital visits, sudden surgery requirements, sudden family member that, that's when we get all of those nasty, just life traumatic events that no one wants. So kudos to you. Clap for yourself, pat yourself on the back, and don't take it lightly. That is a huge step to want to make change for something that you can easily just ignore because the culture is so supportive of it. Whether it's weight loss or weight gain, I know there are people who have been very, very small for most of their young childhood. As they got to adult, That's why the BBL movement is so prevalent, because there are a lot of people who, don't have the extra curves and bumps and lumps. And although everyone is like, well, that's why everyone's getting the, Ozempic, and, they're trying to lose weight, they want to be skinny. Well, the other reality to that is a lot of people who were normal weight or skinnier often got made fun of. Like, a lot of people, and I think this happens, let's side note, I think this happens because at that primal age, seventh, eighth grade, high school, everyone's sexually active, exploring their bodies, exploring their hormones. So it's a natural state where people are sexually charged. And so then you have to bring in pornography, because that's where a lot of the youth first hear about sexual encounters beyond knowing about their parents having sex, if they know about it at all. Some children grow up with parents who are very open with sexual encounters, and they are exposed to sexual things that other kids are not. And, so there's so many dynamics of levels of understanding of the body, of sex, and what we know. And so because pornography is taking over the nations, there's a lot of bullying that comes to women who do not resemble what they see online, because online they show curves, they show body parts that are exciting. And so the women who reflect those exciting body parts, those women are dealing with sexual harassment. So there's not one side that is better. It is more so developing the skill to protect, to love, and to cherish what you have, and to learn how to keep people who don't know how to cherish what you are, keep them out of your life. And lastly, as we tie up this episode, because we all know I'm a believer, I love God, and I encourage everyone to please read the Bible on your own time. Goodness gracious, if we've learned nothing, is that the church is on every corner and we still are doing bad. So something must be wrong. So I encourage everyone to not only learn about you, but to give yourself forgiveness and grace. Yes, the hardest part, and I think it plays so heavy into why it's so hard to move forward, is the amount of criticism and judgment that we give ourselves, the hardship and the beating up that we do to ourselves where no one hears it. These are our own thoughts that go and play on our mind all day and night. That's our own personal tapes. You've got to learn to embrace forgiveness for yourself. We all make mistakes, and I think the beauty of life is to finally get to a place where you reach stability, but then you make a mistake, and because you've done so much healing and work, it's actually okay. You actually get to say, oh my goodness, that was a mistake, and you laugh at it, versus the years before where you didn't have all that strength. So when you made a mistake, it felt like literally the world is over, like my life's over. There's no forward. I'm going to be dealing with this for the rest of my life. Okay, I have been in that state where it's just like you don't see a way of improvement. Baby, I'm here to tell you that there is always a way. Things always get better with a mindset and action of change and growth. You have to do the work. It's not going to be done for you. That's why the internet is so explosive. That's why we have so many millions of views, because we all like to see it. But the reality is, if you aren't doing the work, the physical, you aren't making the efforts, the change, maybe you're just going to be window shopping. You're just going to be watching from afar. And that is no fun. What is fun is getting to it, trying, making an effort, seeing what you're good at, seeing what you were poop at and improving on that, and then continuing on. Okay, we are going to continue to fight another day, another dollar. I think I'm a rapper, but I just like to rhyme. Your host, Chelsea T, thank you for your time. You see why I didn't do rapping? Because no. But don't be discouraged. I know the week might have started off hard, or whatever day you are listening to this, but you are not alone. And if you keep on working with that attitude, you keep on trying to beat that depression, you keep on addressing the ways that you make yourself small, you keep on looking at the habits that keep you from that weight loss, you keep doing it. You keep seeing yourself check off and actually accomplish the things that you were just talking about weeks ago. You're actually doing it now. Listen, winter is coming up. Summer days are simmering down. It's starting to get dark early again. It's easy to get sad, to get content, to get lazy. But if you can work your goals in the winter, work in winter for real. There will really be no stopping you. So get to it. Let's get to it. Check out the shop. My products and services, you do not have to buy all of them. Hello, you have to find what fits you. These are not one size fit all products. These are for you products. Everyone is in different stage. Everyone is in different ways of being, but nevertheless, we're still people. We're still human beings. And what does that mean? We want respect. We want common courtesy, common decency, and we're not taking anything less. But if you aren't putting out what you are requesting, then there is going to be some confliction. So let's work it out. Let's chug through it. And I am so proud to just release this series. I'm so excited to work with you guys and just chop to it. Check out my YouTube channel because I also like to have fun. Please, after you do all this self-help, self-improvement, make sure you are incorporating fun in your life, because if you aren't, baby girl, burnout is waiting for you at the door. If you don't have some type of joy in what you're doing, if you only have joy in the toxic things that you're doing, it's time to find something new, baby girl. Let's get to it. 2025 is on its tail and October will be here before we know it. The spooky season, and then, Christmas is here. Let's get to our goals, guys. We got this. This is THN. Wicka, wicka, wicka. This is THN. The one where we will win. Ooh, THN. I am trying to, maybe one day I'll have a logo, a singing logo, but right now I don't. And I'm sure that's not going to be it. If you made it to the end, please comment. And let me know what you think. Let me know what your goals are. And if you are like, girl, I have the service, I need to know more, there's the link below. Until next time, but as always, make sure if you do nothing at all, maybe you've written down the goals and that was all you could do. Don't forget to take care. Bye.